It was April of 2004 in New York City, and I was living in an SRO, single room occupancy, on 51st Street between 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue. A single room occupancy is a small room that's probably about 7 foot by 8 foot. The walls were cylinder block painted in this dingy white color with a single twin bed and a small little sink, barely big enough for me to wash my hands and wash my face. And I ended up there because I had hit rock bottom. And I knew my life needed to change, but I just didn't know how to change my life. I had spent the last 15 years of my life struggling with drugs and alcohol, and this was the moment. And I decided that I should go to a meeting. Well, actually, I didn't decide that I should go to a meeting. That was a little bit forced upon me, but that's for another story. And in that meeting, that first meeting that I went to, I realized that I had practiced using drugs to numb my feelings. I had become a master manipulator, a master charmer who could just charm my way out of situations and circumstances, but my charm and my manipulation skills had run out a little bit. How should we say that, right? But there was this one thing that I began to do, and that was every morning I got up and I took out my pen and I started writing in my morning pages. Just stream of thought, stream of consciousness. Now, I know journaling gets a bad name. People are like, oh, I don't want to journal. But here's the thing. Journaling is a powerful tool because it takes what's in here and pulls it out and puts it down here on paper so that I could see my thoughts. And these days, everybody's typing, and I tell all my clients, don't type. Take pen to paper, because that's where you're going to have your biggest healing and your biggest transformation. And every day, regardless of how I felt, I got up and I started that practice. And one of the reasons why this channel is called A Matter of Practice is because I believe that everything is about practice. I have, you have developed so many practices unconsciously that are harming us. We've got the practice of negative self-talk. We've got the practice of numbing out with our digital devices. We have the practice of shaming ourselves. We have the practice of gossiping. We have the practice of procrastination. All of these practices are harming us, and in order to change them, we can't just stop the practice. See, when I wanted to change the practice of using drugs and alcohol, I couldn't just stop that practice. I had to replace that with a new practice. And one of those practices was journaling in my morning pages every single day to start to build that muscle of changing not just my experience, but changing how I related to my experience so I could see actually what was going on inside of me. And in my journey of personal development and self-discovery, if you look through any historical experience of religion or spirituality, it's all about having some sort of daily practice. Even sobriety is a daily practice, one day at a time. So that if I look back over my life, I can see those practices that developed, and those practices were trying to protect me from feeling pain, but I had to learn practices to help me be able to start to connect with my internal experience so that I can process and deal with the pain, move through the pain, and get to my power. Ooh, that's good. Because see, I was so focused on the pain that I forgot to focus on my power. So I want to invite you and encourage you to think about what are the practices in your life that you're doing consciously and unconsciously. What is your daily practice? What is the first thing that you do in the morning when you wake up? Do you grab your phone? Do you scroll through the news? Do you just get up, brush your teeth, make your coffee? Those are practices for taking care of yourself. Some people get up, go right to the gym. Good for those people. But the important thing is to have a practice of connecting to yourself that starts out your day. Today, what I do is I focus on prayer, meditation, and journaling. And then I read inspirational, motivational things that fill myself with encouragement for the day. A daily reading is a powerful tool that you can use to start to build a daily practice. Because if you're not doing something intentionally, you will end up doing it habitually. So you have to create daily intentional practices that become part of your daily habit, that you're doing it unconsciously. You don't even have to think about it. I don't even think about it. I just get up and I start with gratitude, thanking. Oh, thank you for being awake. Thank you for being alive. And then I focus on what is my intention for the day. What is it that I'm practicing today? Am I going to practice some joy? Am I going to practice honesty? Am I going to practice commitment, discipline? Am I going to practice compassion? Am I going to practice acceptance? Those are intentional practices that need my attention every day. See, your intention needs attention to keep yourself focused throughout the day. Because the more you repeat these practices, the more you progress towards where you want to go. Your practice of being intentional is one of the keys to having and creating the life that you desire. If you do not have a daily practice, I guarantee you that the past practices that you have unconsciously created will automatically come back into play. Why do I know this? Because the brain is wired for automation. Your brain is wired for energy conservation. So your brain is going to look for the quickest and easiest way to get what it needs. And have you ever had that experience where you're going someplace new and you're looking around and you get there and you're like, wow, I felt like it took me 20 minutes to get here. But the next time you go to that place, you're like, wow, that only felt like 5 minutes. That is because your brain is automated to pay attention when things are new, to be more present in the moment. So when you can build new things into your life, you're more aware. It's called orienting process. You're orienting yourself to what's around. You're paying attention. But when it's familiar, when it becomes rote, sometimes you ever walk home and you're like, I don't even remember getting home, because you're so much on automation. And that's what we're interrupting with the daily practice. Yes, you're automating daily practices, but the practices that you're automating are things that fill you up, that help you get to where you want to go, that help you connect with yourself. Because see, you can ask the same question every day and get a different answer. But it's the practice of asking that question every day that helps you to be more present in the moment. It's that practice of saying, what is it that I want to create today? And so you'll get a new answer for that. So today you may want to be creating more connection in your relationships. Today you may want to be more present at your job. Today you may find a way to have a bigger impact in the world. Now, wouldn't that be a nice practice if we were all thinking about what is the impact I could have in the world today? How could I make the world a better place? Now, you could get a new answer, but that practice is what's going to help you move toward the vision that you want to achieve. Now, isn't that exciting? So, people who are successful have a daily practice. People who are successful know that they have an intentional practice that they can rely upon in those moments when things get stressful. It helps to keep us focused in going where it is we want to go. So I invite you today to think about what are the daily practices that you have that are supportive of your life, and what are the daily practices that you have that are getting in the way of your life, and where can you be a bit more intentional in creating practices that support you. You could have a morning practice, something that you do every morning. You could have an afternoon practice. Well, I like an afternoon practice because we get busy, we get caught up, where you just stop and every day at 3 o'clock you reconnect to your focus for the day, or you pray, or you do an act of kindness, whatever it is. And then at the end of the day, you have a bedtime practice, an evening practice, how you complete your day. If you make those 3 practices, whatever they are, whatever works for you, part of your daily routine, I am sure that you're going to see and begin to see a transformation, because you're going to be doing something intentional. And let me just tell you something. It's not about doing it perfectly every time. That's why it's called a practice. Practice makes progress. It's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about progression, progressing towards where you want to go. And then it's information. So if you're having difficulty creating a daily practice and being consistent, then that's information. That's information that's letting you know maybe you need to make some adjustments to your daily practice. So think about this again. What's your daily practice? Where do you need a daily practice? Morning, afternoon, night. And what are the things that would be most supportive? Maybe it's questions. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's different mindfulness practices, breathing practices, journaling, reading. There are so many different practices that you can use. I like power questions, having a set of specific questions that you ask. And I can talk about that in a different video. But power questions, questions that will lead you to where you want to go instead of getting in the way of where you want to go. Sometimes the answer is in the question. We ask the wrong question, and then it directs us not where we don't want to go instead of where we do want to go. So asking questions is actually a skill, and we can talk about that in another video. But I just wanted you to know that that's why my name is A Matter of Practice, because it's not just about the practice, it's about the matter of how you practice. Because you can have a practice that's not so great, but it's the matter in which you practice and where you practice that leads to your transformation and allows you to be a powerful impactor in the world. It allows you to have the impact that you want to have in the world, and it allows you to create and have the life that you desire. So think about your practices. Let me know what's working for you. Let me know what questions you have for me, and I'll keep providing you these videos that will support you in practicing, because everything is a matter